What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I've covered over the past couple of days Elon Musk as president and, David Pakman coming in. And once again, like I always say when I do these David Pakman videos, you get these Pakman acolytes coming in just calling me stupid and blah, 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 blah. You're dumb. And who the hell is Matt Van? I'm like, that's me. Why put Matt Van question mark? I just don't get that when you see some of these comments. I made a little video right quick just to scroll through and see what's going on with that, just to show you guys some of the, I can't say illiterate, but they're quite not very smart, we'll put it that way. They just come in with their stupid comments and just say, I'm wrong, and clearly didn't pay attention to the video. But, we got this whole President Elon Musk thing going on, which has a spin-off war, if you will, going on between MAGA and MAGA, if you will. This is great. I came across this and I was like, ooh, I gotta cover this. So I went and searched to see if there was any news covering this. And yes, so we're gonna combine the two. We're gonna go over a little bit of news, and we're gonna go over some of these tweets, because we'll see what side of this I fall on, which you can probably imagine I'm not gonna fall on the side of the far MAGA extremists over here, right? Because we do have an element of, a lot of people call them the cult, the MAGA cult, but yeah, it's not really a cult, right? Laura Loomer kind of heads this up a little bit, if you will, but Laura Loomer has gotten out in front of some of these things, and, she's outright criticized Trump on several occasions. So, that just goes completely against the whole cult idea here, right? It just goes totally against that, because you don't question the cult leader. But this is why we say that a lot of these people on the left are cultists, because they don't ever question their own side. They just, defend their positions, and that's it. You don't get any criticism whatsoever. Just look at this past election. You got a lot of these people just refusing to criticize themselves, and it's just getting outright silly. But before we get into everything right quick, I need you guys to do me a favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here and want to stay up to date with how you're being manipulated by some of this crap. And share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But without any further ado, let's get into this thing, because it's kind of good. Check this out, y'all. Civil war brewing in MAGA land over tech bros and tech workers. Right, so Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, Laura Loomer, and Nikki Haley even gets involved in all this thing, and they got this little back and forth going. So let's dive into this and see what the hell the news had to say. And like always, this is coming from a left-wing source, so we can get an outside perspective going on this thing. Check this out. We're going to read through this, and then we're going to go over some of these tweets. In case you missed it, since you rarely visit the cesspool called Exeter, whatever that's supposed to be, right? It's X, Twitter combined, kind of like legitical, but, it is what it is. Can't criticize them for making up words, because I do it all the time. There is a MAGA versus tech bro war going on over there, which escalated rapidly yesterday. First shots were fired by far-right activist and MAGA provocateur Laura Loomer, who has been tweeting scathing notes about Elon Musk lately and trying to attract attention as being a true MAGA warrior. Yes, she is true MAGA. That's a fair assessment of Laura Loomer. She is a true MAGA warrior. But, for these people to say she's in a cult, no, I'm sorry. The cult followers do not criticize the cult leader. That is a big no-no in a cult. And once again, like I said, Laura Loomer has on several occasions criticized Donald Trump. But, that is what it is. On Monday, she criticized Trump's choice to name Sriram Krishnan, a technology entrepreneur and investor who was born in India, as his senior policy advisor on artificial intelligence. She pointed to Krishnan's previous support for removing some caps on H-1B visas, a program allowing foreigners with technical skills to work in the United States, which is a great idea, but some of these people just don't like it. Some of these people are totally against this. This is the isolationist wing of the MAGA movement, if you will. And, MAGA gets just blanket characterized as being isolationist because we don't like intervening in foreign wars. Now, my position, I'm not an isolationist. Now, I don't like illegal immigration, but I do like legal immigration. I don't like funding foreign wars, but I do think we need to have a presence out in the world, a dominant force for good, if you will, but intervening militarily in a lot of these places, I think should be off the table. A last resort, which it's not. A lot of time, it's the first resort as far as America is concerned, and I don't particularly care for that. But some of these people, they just, they don't want anything to do with the rest of the world, and I'm sorry, to break it to all of these isolationist-ish people, if you will. We've got to have some sort of presence out there. Otherwise, places like China, Russia, they'll take over. They'll take our spot, right? Once there is a power vacuum, something will come in, will be sucked in to fill that vacuum. And, that's the age-old neocon argument here. Would you rather China doing this? Right? Well, there are lines to this. Sure, we need to be out there on the world stage doing our thing, blah, 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 blah. But, intervening militarily, like we have done, like in the Middle East, like what we're trying to do in Ukraine, I think is garbage. I think there's other negotiating tactics we can use to get around military intervention, if you will. But, without getting further away, bearing the lead, if you will, let's get back into this thing and see what Laura Loomer had to say. Now, I will give a warning right quick. This comes off a bit racist, if you will. Our country was built by white Europeans, actually, not third world invaders from India. It was white Europeans who created the American dream, and we didn't create it so that it could be exploited by pro-open border techies like you. P.S. Why are people in India still crapping in the water they bathe in and drink from? Now that's just, a hot-headed take from... That's quite racist, if you ask me. Like, there was really no need to go there, if you ask me, but she said it, so it is what it is. Don't talk to me as an American citizen about innovation when we actually have running water and open and indoor plumbing here in America. Perhaps you need to retake your American history class. Do the tech billionaires you work with in Silicon Valley even bother teaching their third world hires about American history anymore? Or are you only interested in your invader supremacist revisionist history? Now, this was in response to this tweet. Anyone opposing high-skilled immigration is fundamentally anti-American. This nation was built by immigrants and drove innovation from Albert Einstein, revolutionizing science, to Sergey Brin, reshaping technology. High-skilled immigrants creating jobs, fuel economic growth, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he goes on to spout a bunch of other nonsense. But he's sort of right and he's sort of wrong, right? Like, this country, I'm sorry, there's a community note down here that says the U.S. was built by various ethnic groups, including Europeans, Africans, Native Americans, and later immigrants from around the world, all contributing to its culture, economy, and society. That is correct. Right? You can't get away from facts. You can't get away from reality. This country, they love to say this. The anti-white racists over here will say the country was built on the back of slavery. Wrong. The regular racists, if you will, say the country was built by white Europeans. Wrong. Right? Then a lot of these people, they'll say, oh, the country was built on immigration. Wrong. Right? It was built on colonization, which is kind of a form of immigration, if you will, but it's a totally separate thing, right? You come to a new land, there's nothing there, and you build a country. That's colonization. Immigration is coming to an already developed country and start, dropping roots and starting your life there. Those are two very, very different things. This country is not a country of immigrants. It's a country of colonizers, right? Now, there is a lot of immigrants that came into this country, sure. But most people that are here, the vast majority, were born here. And most of those people came from Europe, sure, I'll give you that one. But they came here and colonized this place. But to not to ignore the immigrant nature of this country that it has been for a very, very long time, you can't do that. We do have a lot of immigration into this country, and we need that immigration, right? Especially right now. I know this, you might hear this, might sound weird coming from me because I'm constantly, railing against the illegal immigration. But, I love legal immigration. We're in a replacement crisis. We do need to grow our economy if we want our economy to expand. If we don't want to be taken over by communist China, we need to maintain our leadership in the world, if you will. But let's keep going and see what sparked this whole thing off. This is from Vivek Ramaswamy, and I happen to totally agree with pretty much all of this. Any of it I disagree with, I'll nod to you and let you know. This is quite the long take, but he's totally correct in this. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Here it is. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. At least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Sister over Screech in Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. He is totally correct. Our culture has become lazy. We tell our kids to just do what you want to do, and we have produced generations of lazy people. Millennials, Gen X, not so much. Some of them are, but, it kind of started in Gen X. But millennials are really, really vapid people. They're lazy. They don't want to work. And it just gets worse and worse and worse, right? Gen Z is even worse than that. Now, I see some hope with Gen Alpha, right? They're starting to come in. Like, my kid just blows me away. He works hard. He goes to school. He's getting good grades. He plays soccer for the high school team. He's in the beta club. He's in another club. I forget the name of it right off. Dang it, I can't remember the name of it. But he's in several clubs. And he doesn't go out and trash stuff. He doesn't vandalize anything, which I used to do when I was younger, right? Like, I was just this bad kid just going and getting in trouble all over the place. He is not. I've learned from my mistakes and tried to instill in him some values of hard work, some good ethics. You don't do this, you do this, blah, 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 blah. So I'm seeing some signs here. And he's got a lot of friends that are in the same way. They in all these clubs, they play sports, they get good grades. Not to say there aren't some bad apples. Sure, there's always that, but we need to make hard work great again. In other words, we have gotten away from hard work. And in situations like this, what Vivek Ramaswamy is talking about here is, we want the best and the brightest. That is something good that comes from being on the top, right? A lot of people want to come here for the American dream. And, if we want the best of the best, they need to be allowed to come into this country to be able to, set themselves up, drop roots and create a life for themselves. Get the best opportunities so they can come here, start families, you name it, right? And those H-1B visas are a very good promoter of this, and this is good. We want the best and brightest, and this is why I rail against illegal immigration constantly, because it's not the best and brightest. Like Trump says, they're sending their criminals, they're sending the people they don't want. Sure, mixed in with all this is some people that just do want to come here for a better life, but a lot of these people, no, That's not the case. It's criminals, just, the worst of the worst. And that's not what we want. If these people are willing to break our laws to come into this country, that's not something we really want to incentivize, for crying out loud, which the Biden administration has been doing a lot of that. Let's keep going. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer returns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grew up aspiring to normalcy, normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raised their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. Sorry for all those little slip-ups right there. The words are kind of small and it's kind of hard to read. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we can do it. And he's totally right. This is why I backed Vivek Ramaswamy for the presidential election, because I think Vivek Ramaswamy is a very, very good communicator of legacy American culture, of what it used to be. You get out there and you work hard, you bust your butt, and you make stuff happen. This is something I instilled in my kid, since he was a child. Anytime he would come to me crying about something, why this happened, or blah, 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 why he's not good at baseball, anything, right? I would say, life is what you make it. And it goes a lot deeper than just saying this, right? Like, you take situations, you grab life by the horns, and you force life to bend to your will. In other words, you get out there. If you want to be good at baseball, you practice, right? Some people are born with an advantage where they can see that ball coming a little bit better than you, and their hand-eye coordination is a little bit better than you. But that is not to say you can't achieve, being better than that person that has that innate ability to hit a ball with a bat, right? You can get out there and practice. You can work hard and get to that achievement, right? So it is what you make it. But once again, this goes for a lot of other things. If life hands you lemons, you make lemonade, right? That is to say, if something bad happens to you, right? You get into a car wreck, right? Don't look at that as a negative thing. There's always a positive to everything, right? That could just open a door for you to get a brand new car that you wanted, or open another door for something else. Maybe that saved your life. Blah, 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 blah. You get it. So I try to instill in him, if something bad happens, try to step back, zoom back out, and look and try to find the positive in this, right? Which is what we need to be doing in this country. Instead of playing victim in all these things and blaming this on white supremacy, or blaming this on the police, or blaming whatever, blaming Democrats or blaming Republicans. We need to take responsibility into our own hands, right? Like I got into this little back and forth with this guy in the comment section. He was talking about rich billionaires and all these income inequities and all this other garbage, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. Look, dude, I am a broke person. I live paycheck to almost paycheck, right? I run out of money before I get paid again, right? So I'm right there at the bottom, if you will, right? So I can't always afford to eat lunch. Sometimes I have to, scrape pennies to get a $2 taco from Taco Bell. You know what I mean? So and I'm not looking at somebody like Elon Musk and getting mad at them because they're successful. That was choices I made early on in my life that got me to where I'm at now. And I'm slowly dragging myself out of this, right? But that was laziness that was instilled to me by my parents, to be honest with you, that just set me down a path of destruction. Now, it wasn't necessarily that, but I got away with way too much that I shouldn't have got away with. Plus, my adopted dad died at a young age, and my mom, she just, bless her soul, she just couldn't handle it, right? So, that's certain situations, but once again, life is what you make it. I chose my path. I could have been rich, right? I could have made vastly different choices in my life, but that's what I chose. So I have to live with that. Once again, I've made a decent life for myself. Sure, I'm not rich, but I have a loving family. I've got a house to go home to, so I consider myself lucky. Right? I'm not going to worry about somebody else spending money on the 7 different yachts and buying Twitter and all this other stuff. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to get mad at somebody who's rich. Once again, that goes back to all this, oh, we need to tax the rich. They're not paying their fair share. Nah, that's garbage. That is outright garbage, in my opinion. Just straight up. Now, there was a whole lot more to that story, and I'm trying to switch gears, trying to get back to the story a little bit. There was more to that I was going to get into, but yeah, it's all just kind of, tertiary garbage that we don't really need to get into. But the main thing is these people, like Laura Loomer, thinks MAGA is isolationists, right? That we shouldn't allow all these people to come in. No, I'm sorry, that's garbage. If we want the best and brightest, the H-1B visas, that's the way to go. That incentivizes people, smart people, that, can innovate, help this country to be better, can innovate our way to supremacy in the world, if you will, and help us maintain what we've got here. We want to be the leaders of the world. We want to be the best if we want to lead by example. A lot of these neocons and some of these even liberals, they try to push this idea that we need to force democracy on a lot of these places. Hence all the CIA coups and all this other garbage, funding of Al-Qaeda. There's a lot of garbage the United States has done that I don't think we should have took that approach, right? Who are we to tell another nation something they should do, right? Trying to force our culture upon them. I don't think that's right. I think we just need to lead by example. If those countries want to prosper, then hey, take us as a lesson and implement our government, our culture the way we have, and see if that works for you, right? Do your own thing. That's what I say. Lead by example. And if we are to lead by example, if we are to continue our dominance over the world, we need the best and brightest from around the world to come in and melt into the pot, right? We don't need all these outside elements coming in illegally, in other words. But we need stuff like this. I don't understand these people that want to limit legal immigration. What? Why? Why would you want that? Why would you not want people coming here to this country to get their slice of the pie, if you will? Right? Now, the illegal immigration, I totally get that. We don't want that at all. We would love zero illegal immigration. That would be great. And I think, in my personal opinion, we need to expand our legal immigration system a little bit. I think there is room for improvement there. I'm not one of these staunch supporters that'll get out there and say, well, our immigration system is broken and we need legislation. That's tired. That's excuse making, if you will. The system is not broken. Like, they don't ever explain exactly how it's broken, right? Now, if the argument is that we need to expand it, yeah, that's not a broken system, my guy. You need to stop with all this garbage rhetoric and say we just need to expand this. The system isn't broken. The system works how it's designed to work. That is how it is, right? You get people to come in, it takes a while, right? We need more people to advocate or to mitigate all these cases, because a lot of people want to come to this country. So we need more, mitigation, if you will, of all of these applications coming in. That is something I totally agree with, but that is not a complete overhaul of the system. That is not indicative of a broken system. That is indicative of an overloaded system that needs a little bit of expansion. But I think these people are just going at it, and the left is looking way too deep into this. They're calling it a civil war and all this. No, this is what goes on with honest and open discourse. We can go out and agree with each other on many different things, but we can have these discussions and still be friends after the fact. This is the problem with some of the left cultists, right? If you don't agree 100% with the cult, you're far right. Hence, how they consider this a civil war. No, this is just debating these issues. That's all this is. And they're blowing it up as a civil war. But, the corporate press will do what the corporate press does, and that is manipulate everything. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section, because, insights, I love them. I love going back and forth with you guys. So y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.